to Dynamite Delight now. Before I get started, I know I'm going to leave out a lot of stuff here because I'm doing it actually on purpose. Because I had to think about this. I couldn't just do an ordinary Dynamite Delight review. Because I know, particularly that Buddy Matthews has appeared. I know people are going to get mad about that. How the Red Dragons have been spotlighted. I know there's going to be people angry. I know. Because they're going to say, oh, look at this. Other WWE guys. This is where it's going to be coming down to. I know it. And I've already told people multiple times, let it go. It's not about WWE guys. You've been conditioned by Vince to see nothing but what Vince wants you to see. Them as WWE guys. That's what this is going to be all about. So I'm just going to go briefly through everything here and tell you the basics. And then I'm going to have to explain something to you guys again. The Battle Royal. We know that Red Dragon won. That's Fish and O'Reilly. We know they won. Who did the best job other than O'Reilly and Fish? John Silver looked pretty good. You got Trent. I'm about to say Trey from Impact Wrestling because he was not him, but Eddie Edwards was mentioned during a promo along with Mr. Paul Levesque. But I will get to that in a minute. But Trent looked all right. You got John Silver looking good. Of course. You got FTR looking good. But they went with Red Dragon. I'm not going to talk about the division because we already know there's going to be a division between Red Dragon and the Bucks. And Adam's going to have to make a decision. Even though his segment that he had with all four of them, they argued he's trying to tell them to work together because they need to be a team. I understand it. Let's move on. Now, when you look at the House of Black and the Kings of the Black Throne, you already have an issue there, but I'm not going to talk about that yet. We see Buddy Murphy, a.k.a. Buddy Matthews. I know you want me to talk about him. I'll talk about him later. Was the match good between Pac and Penta? I forgot what he called himself. Obsidio? I can't pronounce it properly. I don't speak Spanish. But I believe that's what he called himself. The Darkness. Penta Darkness. I think that's what it is. Or Obsidio. I don't know. Maybe you could tell me below if anyone speaks Spanish. I don't know. But was it good? Yes, it was. The faces won. They still got their butts kicked afterward. You already know why. Because Buddy Matthews shows up. And the lights going out was a okay touch. It wasn't perfect. Because you wonder, is it that necessary? I'm just saying. Now, Starks versus a 10 from Dark Order. Now, this, I have to say, was not good. Because the majority of the match was on the advertisement. In other words, when it went to commercial, it was more advertisement than it was match. That hurt it desperately. Needing to be live or be taped or whatever. I'm just saying, when you watch it in picture-in-picture, it wasn't that bad. But it should have been not ended so quickly once the commercials were over. I'm just saying. Now, a match that should have never been on Dynamite. Look, I'm not against Jade Cargill. You know I love me Jade. I'm not against Bunny. I love me the Cherry Bomb, a.k.a. Bunny. But let's be honest here. Even though Bunny has been spotlighted heavily last year in several high-profile matches that many people were mixed with. Some believed it was great, some believed it was bad, and many just wondered why were they given so much time when there should be other women to be spotlighted. They did this on Dynamite where it didn't need to be on Dynamite. Honestly, seeing that the Brass Knucks were going up against the damn title, where you got the Hardy throwing the Brass Knucks into the ring, you got Smart Mark throwing that title in there. Who do you think was going to win? You knew who was going to win. In the end, she now gets, 28 or 29-0? I can't remember. And she had a promo afterward saying, who's next? Tai Conchi comes out. They have a little bit of a fight. Yes, I understand that. But this could have been done on Rampage. I'm sorry. Yes, Tai is a very good wrestler, and she has a decent character. Bunny's a good wrestler, easily a good wrestler when she wants to be, and has a good character. Jade Cargill still needs more work, even though she's been in the business a little more than a year and maybe a month or two. She still needs work, but let's be honest here. She needed, if she's going on Dynamite, a more high-profile person to go up against. And Bunny wasn't it. Bunny wasn't it. I'm just saying. Now, Bryan Danielson versus Garcia, which was the best match of the night. Now, let's make this clear. It's not going to reflect the ratings. No matter how much the people cheered, the ratings are not going to reflect because we are still dealing with casual fans here. Look, I heard what happened with Rampage. 471,000 people saw it on primetime. As I said, this was a test to see what Rampage could accomplish. And whether they spotlighted it and advertised it enough or not is irrelevant. It did get 471,000. Yes, the NBA All-Stars is coming out. Yes, you could say a lot about it maybe not being advertised, but still it's not really big. Now, of course, they could still move there. They can make things better. But Rampage did look great. And seeing this match, even though it was a very good match, and it had a good story behind it, and a good ending with Moxley and Bryan Danielson going to the pay-per-view, and easily going to have a match which is going to bring them together as a team later to make whatever, I doubt it's going to make the ratings exceptionally high. I doubt it. I just doubt it. Not because I don't think that AEW is bad. It's not. It's that a lot of casual fans are the key here. So, what else do we have on the show before I get to the final part? We had Eddie Kingston's segment, which was the best thing with Chris Jericho. It was damn good. Other than MJF and what happened with CM Punk, which I'll get to in a minute. But the way those two talked was so real. Even though it's a work and part of a shoot, let's be honest. This was a work-shoot situation when it came to a little bit of Chris, let's be honest. When it comes to Eddie Kingston, he even said it on several podcasts, how he feels about his life, having depression, trying to work through it, having to do whatever it takes to keep himself going in wrestling. He's not lying. Chris Jericho, some of that is there. I got depression and anxiety. I understand. It is not an easy thing when you think that you don't have what it takes to do something. Look, I'm not the greatest YouTuber that exists. Even if people say I'm really good, which I know I'm not. But I don't feel like I'm the best. Not just because I don't think I give out good content. I give my best. But it's still a depression thing with anxiety where you think you're not able to do anything and you think you're not doing well enough. So seeing Eddie as someone I could relate to, I can understand what Chris said. But taking a little bit of his real life, it makes it understandable. Seeing Chris put him over was great. Seeing that Eddie was throwing a little bit of the WCW bit in, the WWE bit, and throwing a little bit of Paul Levesque, and I'm not going to describe it heavily, but seeing that Eddie brings in that, hey, this is not sport entertainment, and I don't want to deal with the guy who never got his true shot through his best friend Paul, because Paul Levesque kind of did screw Chris Jericho back in the mid-2000s because of how he was spotlighted. No one said Paul Levesque is a good guy. We just said he did a decent job in NXT. No one said he's a great guy. He's still politics just like everybody else. Just like Chris Jericho does too. But the story was very good. Now the MJF story, which I think was the best story compared to that one, which was real. If this one was also real, which it looks like it might have been, it was even more real. When you see MJF come out, when you see him talk about he has ADD, I believe ADSD, that he was treated badly. And understand, I know that better than anybody. I used to know someone who was Jewish who was picked on badly to the point where he went and brought a Uzi to his locker to his school. And that was back in the 90s before they put in the security metal detectors that are more standard now in most schools that are dangerous. Back then, you could bring anything in, and he brought in a damn gun. And he was smaller than me. So I can understand being picked on as someone Jewish. But seeing how emotional he was, seeing that he was talking about going to the football team, thought he was finally going to get a fair shake, that he was going to be making friends, and they threw quarters at him, that's hazing, guys. That's hazing. And they didn't like him on top of it, but that was hazing. Seeing that, and seeing him talk about how CM Punk made him feel special, becoming a wrestler, and then by 2013 into 14, when he was already doing wrestling, studying for it, getting ready for it, CM Punk leaves. Now, guess what? He leaves it, goes to college, but then he couldn't stand seeing Bryan Danielson and CM Punk shaking hands, and he said, I'm going to be better than CM Punk, comes back to wrestling, and you get what you get now. A very good story, seeing CM Punk come out and ask him, is it real? Is it real? Are you fucking with me? Is this real? And he says, it's real. It's real. And then he leaves. Now, mind you, this could still be a total, complete work of him saying all that. But it could also be real. And if it is real, it makes it even more better for the story and the match they're going to have. This was a very heavily loaded show with a lot of content and some very good matches. But now, and if I'm forgetting a match, I'm sorry. But now, let's be honest here. We need to talk. We need to talk about what's going to happen here. And I'm not actually going to put any images in here. I'm doing this raw, guys. When I finish this, I'm uploading it directly to YouTube. There's no images. The only thing it's going to have is my intro. That's it. Simple as that. Let's make this clear. Keith Lee being there. Brady. I hate to think I have to explain this. And see in the comments how angry everyone is going. Well, not everyone's going to be angry. Many people understand what I'm saying. But there's going to be people who's going to be angry, pretty much saying this is stupid. WWE guys are taking away from homegrown people from AEW who, well, guess what? On top of that, with the rating from Rampage, it shows AEW's crash. I understand why Cody left. I have to explain it, guys. This must be understood. You have been easily conditioned. I was the same. By you looking at WWE as the be-all, end-all, and as I told one of my subscribers, if he was a subscriber, I believe he was, and said in a video before this, I have to say it again. Do you know how the system used to work? Do you know how wrestlers used to be? Do you know that, yes, they love wrestling, but they also need money? And they're going to do what they got to do. So let me explain it to you. Since 1930s. Now, there are several wrestling promotions well earlier than that. But I'm going from the late 30s into the early 40s into the late 40s, where NWA was started. And understand, NWA was started to help all the other smaller promotions make something. Let me repeat that again. NWA is the first wrestling organizational promotion. Now, mind you, not all of the promotions joined it, but many did. Many joined the NWA. Many joined together so they could make a network so the wrestlers could wander between them. And when one wrestler stays long enough to the point where they don't get over anymore, they can go to another promotion knowing that there's no problem between them being stopped or being harassed, and they can just go in there, make their business, make their craft, make their money, get some fame, as I said before. This ended in the early 80s when Vince McMahon went head to head with the other promotions. AEW, have to say this calmly, the AWA USA. What is it? WWF USA? I believe that was one of them. I could be wrong. The AEWA, the WCCW, the WCW, the ECW, Championship Wrestling, which is Florida Championship Wrestling. I don't think it was around at that time, but it could have been. Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. There were many wrestling promotions. The Crockett promotions. Other promotions that existed well before you were born. They had people wander between them. And normally, you could see someone who was from the South go work in the North. Or vice versa. Do you actually think Hulk Hogan started in New York? Started with WWF or WWWF because it was called Worldwide Wrestling Federation first. But Vince cut off one F. No, W, not F. One W. Look, guys. They've been doing it for more than 70 years. Wrestlers wander between one promotion to another, making their craft, making their money, making their fame, making fans happy. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Until Vince made you understand that anyone who goes to calm down. Anyone goes to WWF / now WWE is only WWE people. They don't mean anything else as WWE people. And now you get this very stupid attitude of a wrestler. And in many cases, the NXT brand Paul started has never been 100% accepted by Vince. Ever accepted. How many people did he bring to the point of destruction, brought them back, rewrote them multiple times until they look the way they are? Kevin Owens? Sasha Banks? You want me to keep going? Charlotte didn't do anything because of her name. Becky Lynch had to go through it multiple times. When it came to Seth Rollins, he was safe to a certain amount. When it came to Moxley, he got written more than a couple of times. He didn't like it. How many people were brought from NXT and treated like crap? Look at Finn Balor. Look at Rusev. Look at Aiden English. How many more do you want me to go through? How many more? Ryback, even though he was a piece of garbage in most cases, he started in FCW going into NXT to a certain extent. Well, kind of bypassing, but still something was there. You know what I'm talking about. Heath Slater. The Heath? Come on. Understand what I'm telling you guys. You've been conditioned to think 100% that anyone that comes from WWE is automatically a WWE guy. Just like with TNA, the same thing. You don't get it. You've been conditioned to think that that person is in that promotion and that's it. See them as just plain wrestlers wandering, going from one place to another, who has earned their rank by working their ass off in the companies, in the business. The more you keep thinking about WWE, guess what? You're not going to get the hell you want. Do you actually think Tony Khan is going to listen to you? This is what I say to you guys. Honestly, leave a comment below. Do you actually think that the fans who are always saying, look, another WWE guy, do you actually think Tony Khan cares about WWE in that respect? He sees wrestlers. And he doesn't see a WWE wrestler. He sees a damn wrestler that is good, that could work and make his brand, his company, better. You keep saying that makes you, guess what? Dumb. And I'm not being disrespectful. It makes you dumb because you got conditioned by Vince and you know 100% that when it comes to Impact Wrestling, when it comes to AEW, MLW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, ROH when it finally comes back, MLW, do you actually think they listen to you 100%? They can't. You know why? Because you're idiots. Because when it comes down to it, seeing these wrestlers only by that promotion they got either started in and got fame in and saying, oh, here goes this other guy from this some other place that is taking away from the other wrestlers is dumb. Now, mind you, I want to make this clear that I'm not ignoring that they are focusing more on all the other people that either will come in from Impact Wrestling, that may come in from MLW, from New Japan Pro Wrestling, from, NWA? You think I won't notice? Of course I will. But the question is, and this is important for you to get because of what's going on, what happened with Cody, supposedly what happened to Cody, and Tony Khan, that Tony Khan now has sole control of creative. Because it used to be the Bucks, it used to be Kenny to a certain extent, and Cody was also involved in creative. None of them are part of creative anymore. It's Tony only. It comes down to how Tony Khan is going to book them. This is not about if they politic their asses in the back. They're going to. Every wrestler to a certain extent, either a little bit of politicking because they want to be honest, or they go this big, it makes no difference. Every last one of them is going to pitch something to try and make themselves look good. That's the deal of how it works in pro wrestling. That is why they get the money, they get the spotlight, they get to show themselves so they can become popular, that you will like them. If you don't get it, you don't understand pro fucking wrestling. You need to understand the concept. So when it comes to this, it's not going to be about them. It's not going to be about the wrestlers from WWE or Impact Wrestling or MLW or NWA who are going to politic their asses. It's about how Tony is going to book the shows and the pay-per-views. You need to understand this. And this is the bottom line. Hating them as WWE guys or girls, you're stupid. I'm not saying it to be cruel to you because it's true. When it comes down to it right now as it stands, you're acting exactly the way Vince wants you to act. If you hate WWE and you love AEW, then stop thinking about WWE. See them as wrestlers and see if they're going to make you smile or piss you off like they're supposed to as heel or faces. If they're going to give you good wrestling, do they have a good look that can motivate you maybe to get in shape or to buy something? Or will it make you excited for someone or someone's? That is their job. It doesn't matter where they come from. And I know someone is going to say, you don't understand what Twitter and everyone else in IWC. It don't matter. I'm talking to you. I'm not talking about the rest of the internet wrestling community. I'm not talking about the IWC. I'm talking to you. The one that's looking at this ugly face. Well, it's not that ugly, I hope. Listen to me. Because those comments are not coming from hundreds or thousands of people. They're coming from you. You're the one that's the issue, not them. Because when it comes down to it, you leaving comments on my videos shows that you believe what they say. It's not about you saying, well, this is what they say. Motherfucker, with respect, you putting the comment of them being WWE guys and it's unfair for the rest of the roster shows that you're the one with the problem. Because Tony's not going to have the problem. He's going to book whoever he wants. The wrestlers are not going to have a problem. They got work now because WWE treated them like dirt. And if they knew they were treated like dirt and decided to resign but then finally got fired, but then they learned their lesson or not, it's not your problem. It counts on Tony booking them. And by you over and over saying, I can't stand this, these WWE or ECW or NWA or Impact Wrestling stars, particularly that when it came to, guess what, Chris Jericho didn't know who Eddie Kingston was at first. He thought that he was Eddie Edwards. He didn't say Impact Wrestling, but that's what he was implying. Do you not get it yet? This is the problem. You listening and accepting Vince's thoughts is the problem. So, of course, you're going to leave your comments and still tell me you don't get it because the internet's going to say it. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not talking to the internet, I'm talking to you. That's probably what I might say. Unless I want to really iterate something if I never met you before. If you're not someone I don't recognize in the comments, because there's many people I recognize who always comment on my videos, who I thank. And this is not to be insulting to anyone. I'm actually trying to help you to see you're not enjoying your wrestling because you're looking at things as Vince wants you to look at it. That's the truth. I'm only telling you what's going on. You're the ones who have to make their own damn... Well, there's an old saying. You cannot make someone see what you want to see. And to see it clearly like you, the only thing you can do is show them what's going on and let them make their own damn minds up. And whether they figure it out or not is on them. That's what it is for you. That's what I've done. I give me the opportunity again to hear what I've said. And you got to make your own damn mind up. And of course, many won't. And many will. Or be somewhere in between. You have the right to decide what you want. And you have the right even to make the comments. But there's no way I'm not going to tell you, hey, the IWC is not the issue. I'm talking to you. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.